It was really great because, we got a nice hotel and all of that, and so it was really great. And I also got a pass to San Diego Comic-Con, which was even better because I was like, oh, yay, I get to go to there. And I got to be there for about a day. But the best part, of course, was going to High Moon and actually seeing the tour and, reviewing the game. So I got to play the campaign for a little bit. We saw more of the campaign at High Moon when they actually kind of showed us what was going on. I got to see several characters. That evening, I got to go and play multiplayer. I got to play Deathmatch, Conquest, Escalation, and then I also got to play a little bit of the campaign there as well. It was really, really great. You guys have any questions that I can answer, or
Well, tell us about the campaign mode. I mean, what's
the campaign mode?
What's the what are some of the differences between it? Maybe say in the previous game, or what are your thoughts on it?
Campaign mode. The first one that you're going to go through is the Bumblebee campaign, the Bumblebee chapter. Let me back up there. I think there's going to be about 11 chapters, and the only reason why I know that is the numbers that were on the game, and then they had this timeline at High Moon that was like all down this wall, and I think there were 11 that I counted.
There's
Bumblebee.
Sorry, there's an achievement that appears to be. I'm sorry, hang on a second. 16, I think.
16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
16 chapters?
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
I thought I heard 13.
13. You're right. Yeah, it was the 13 chapters, and then the final chapter.
13.
Yeah, so 13.
All right, so I could have miscounted, so it's all right, though. I wasn't exactly sure on that. So the first one basically is Bumblebee, and it's kind of like a tutorial. The thing is they made it very story-oriented, so it's like I didn't feel like it was kind of like, oh, wait, this is the tutorial level. That's not going to really give me anything. No, actually, it does start everything, and they made it make sense, so it wasn't like, oh, that's lame. No, it was actually you play Bumblebee and you have a few things that you've got to do to help Optimus Prime and such. And it was like it was a flash forward, because after you get to the end of that, then it says, 6 Earth days earlier. And so I'm guessing that you start out this so that you kind of know where it's working up to, and then you get all the backstory, and then you probably are gonna. I'm not sure how it's gonna meet up in the end, because I didn't get to see the end, obviously. But I liked how it was. It felt really story. Like if anybody was saying that the story wasn't really story-ish, then I think that's what it's gonna. I think it's gonna get better in this edition of.
Was Bumblebee talking?
No. They make it pretty clear within the first minute of the game that he has sustained damage and he does not talk.
I was wondering if maybe the chapter is going to show how it happened, like that was going to happen at the end of the chapter or something, maybe.
No, at this point, Bumblebee has already sustained the damage that caused him not to talk. So.
Then again, it is 6 days later than the
True. It could be later on in the game. I really don't know, because I didn't get to see all of it. I just got to see all of the Bumblebee chapter. So I got to see the Starscream chapter only a little bit. They showed us how the gameplay was on that in a specific area, because they talked about how in this game they've made options so that if you have if you find that you like to do this type of gameplay, they have options where you can shoot from one area, go to another place, shoot from another area, go back under everything, and come back and forth. Or if you want, you can fly right up, jump down, shoot a bunch of people, get back up and fly away. I mean, there's lots. They gave a lot of options, and I really liked how that was, because some people will find that they like doing this as opposed to that, and so you will have options within the gameplay to do different things. I also got to see Prime Optimus Prime, the Optimus Prime level. I also got to see the Jazz level with the rappelling gun or whatever that he uses, and it was kind of fun to see that. They demonstrated a little bit of how it works. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty fun. So it looks pretty smooth. I didn't get to play it, unfortunately, but it was really fun to see Jazz using his gun. And then we also got to see Grimlock. With Grimlock, he pretty much, and if you've had a chance to look at my review, they basically called him a Hulk, and they were not kidding. He's got his own weapons, everything about him is just completely unique. And quite literally, he works up a rage meter, and you have ultimate control over this rage meter. So if you get in, you work up the rage meter, and you can engage it. You can engage it for as long as you want, and then and it will start working down. But if you get halfway through the rage meter and decide that you don't want to use it anymore, you can disengage it, and then it'll have to build right back up, and then you can engage it again. So you can use it to manage how you want to use it in the gameplay. If you find that you're out of bad guys to go rage on, then you can turn it off, work it back up, and then re-engage it again. So it was quite unique. I was very impressed with that. I thought, wow, that'll really help a lot of people that don't want to be frustrated by, oh crap, I just the last wave is here, and I'm wasting everything that I just built up. So yeah. I also saw the Megatron chapter later on when I went to the multiplayer play that evening, because they only let us see a small chapter of it, though, because to get too far into it starts revealing stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah, it was really good to have a chance to play him as well. And I really don't know all of the other characters that you can play in campaign because, like I said, those are the ones that I saw, but I'm sure that there are more because, like I said, that whole timeline, there were lots of characters on there, and I'm guessing that you can play several of them. I don't think that you can play as Metroplex, though, if anybody's wondering about that. So
yeah, I think I had heard that you couldn't.
Yeah, he will be the supporting character for Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's like Optimus Prime controls him, so he basically does. He helps out Optimus Prime on that level, so it'll be good. I'm sure that you can play as
Bring that can on the high shelf. Can you get that for me?
Yeah. And he just crashes into everything.
It's like, aw, Bumblebee's going to have to clean this up. But yeah, I think that's all the campaign. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I didn't.
Since you played as Megatron.
I did.
Okay.
Just for a small portion, that, like I said, we went to the multiplayer gameplay that evening, and they had a campaign set up on 4 different computers, and so I got a chance to jump in there and play both Megatron and Bumblebee, and I did the whole Bumblebee chapter because it was a tutorial chapter, but I liked it. It was really good. And then I also played Megatron, but only for a small section. The guy was just there waiting.
Each of the characters that you played in campaign and multiplayer, do they feel very similar to like War for Cybertron? Like, do they all have like a distinct feel to it?
Yeah, the movement, it feels somewhere between what I'd say Fall of War for Cybertron and Dark of the Moon. If you've played them both, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It's not as fast and fluid as War for Cybertron, but it's not as frustrating as Dark of the Moon, where it was blocky and jerky. It's what I say somewhere in between. I could definitely tell when I was playing it that it was definitely different than War for Cybertron. But I was starting to kind of get in the groove by that evening of, how to use it and how to make it move. You do have one ability that's unique to the character. Everybody has dash. So that's good that everybody has the same, you only have one power that's unique to that character. And you've got options to pick. Like the customization is mostly what you're going to be using in the multiplayer. And there are you had lots of options. You could change the way that you looked. You could change your weapons. You could change the powers some of the powers that you could use depending on, like they had a few that you could select, but not all, it's not as much as like say the physical customization that you can do with the characters. So that was interesting that they had that, and I think there was one other option, and I can't recall which one it was. Let's see. I can't think of another thing to say. Anybody have another question?
I don't know if anybody else does. I
know so little about video game play anymore that I feel.
Oh, I edited the article, so it was kind of like.
Yeah, I just pulled up my article and browsed through it real quick before I started. So, let's see what else is that you can do on multiplayer. Something that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet, because I know a lot of people out there, if they're listening, will want to know this. If you can play the Dinobots or the Insecticons in multiplayer, and I don't know a lot of details about it, but apparently you can. He found out about this that night, and I asked before I left if I was allowed to say anything about it, and they said, yes, all the embargoes are off, so I can talk about stuff. At least that's what Calvin said, so I'm hoping that that's the case. But yes, you will be able to play as Grimlock or possibly one of the other Dinobots. Matt Teager didn't say how he knew. He was like, I don't know how they did this, but I just found out, and he announced it that evening, that you will be able to play possibly all of the Dinobots and some of the Insecticons. So,
okay, so is it a new class, or is it just cosmetic design and things like that?
It's cosmetic design.
Okay.
You will be able to design your own character to look like one of those characters and play them. Now, I don't know about whether or not you're going to have the same abilities or not. I don't know any of that information. Again, it just came out that night. He said I didn't know how they can do it, but they figured out how to do it. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be stuff that you're going to be able to unlock as you play the game.
Okay.
I think I remember them saying something like that. So, when you start out in multiplayer, you're not going to be able to have all the options. You're going to, as you play the game, you will unlock stuff so that you'll have complete and total control over everything that you can do in multiplayer. But, it's stuff that you will unlock as well. I also played Deathmatch and Conquest and Escalation, and I don't remember how many maps. They did say that they had maps, and I do believe that they will eventually have downloadable material that you can also increase maps or whatnot. I'm really not sure what their download material is going to be. When I asked Matt, he said that he wasn't even sure what they had in the works, so it was kind of cool. Let's see. Multiplayer, we only got to see a couple of maps. I think one happened to be in the city, the Rust kind of aesthetic, which was kind of cool. The Conquest is still the same, where you go and capture the nodes. Team Deathmatch is still the same from what I could gather. I think you have Team Deathmatch and then just Deathmatch. Escalation, they're a little bit more specific about how they are doing the game. With that, you got 4 character types like you did in the past, but you've got one ability that is available for each of these. All of the scouts are going to have this type of ability, and all of they have 4 different categories. They're not called the same as they were in War for Cybertron. I can't remember all of what they called them, the different body types, but you're going to have basically a munitioner that's going to drop ammunition, a healer that's going to be able to heal everybody, the shield who's going to be able to put up a shield so that you can get people behind it there, and you can shoot through the shield. The bad guys can't shoot you, but you can shoot them, I'm really glad they fixed that, because it was kind of frustrating. You put up the shield, you're like, well, I can't shoot them and they can't shoot me.
Right.
So now you can shoot through it. If it's your shield, you can shoot through it, but they can't shoot through it. I was like, oh, yes, I'm really happy about that. And then the last one is the Protector, who has this little automated turret that kind of follows you around called the Clutch, and it doesn't just stay in one place. It follows you wherever you go, and it shoots things. So, I mean, I think on escalation it does stay put, but in the game it does follow you around. And let's see here. I played the munitioner and I played the healer, and they said that I was, one of the guys said, well, you're probably one of the best healers that we've had all night. So I was like, hey. But I got to play Perceptor, and I saw Wheeljack in escalation. So I was pretty thrilled about that. I was like, I don't know what he plays as, but I was just looking over the shoulder of somebody else, and I was like, there's Wheeljack. It's like, cool. So it was pretty fun to see that. So that I know those characters are in there. Oh, geez. I know there's going to be a ton of questions that people are going to have, and I'm barely scratching the surface of everything that I got a chance to do there. It was just really fun to hang out. So anybody have any other questions? I think this is the most I've ever talked on Read or Refuse Cybertron.
Sounds like you covered it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. She did a really good job. She wrote some pretty hefty pieces, so
yes.
Definitely.
And I can't wait to play more of it. I mean, when it comes out, I'll be like, play this as fast as I can, and I'll write another one if I have to. So, yeah. It worked. It's really good.
Awesome.
I was really impressed with it. The only downside that I think I saw in customization with the multiplayer, because you are playing the character that you create, I think that's only available in multiplayer. And you can have like a Megatron head on a Autobot body. And the only problem with that is that when you're playing the game in the gameplay, you might not be able to tell the difference between an Autobot and a Decepticon, because people are going to customize their characters the way that they want. The upside of that is, if you remember in War for Cybertron how they had the disguise mode, and how it was easy to see through the disguise because you just saw who the figure was and whatnot, and it just had different colors. I was like, this way, it kind of brings that back into play for everybody. You can have a disguise just by the fact that your character is unique and it's created the way that it is. And the only way you can really tell is basically you put their sight on them and you find out whether or not they're an opponent or a friend. The other side about that is that to mix it up, they might, when they expire, they might switch to another character. So, you have to really pay attention in the game of who you're shooting at, so you know who's your friend and who isn't your friend. So it will kind of make things a little interesting for the multiplayer. So that's just a little thing that I observed while I was playing. I was like, dang, it's hard to figure out who's my friend and who's not my friend.
Right, yeah. So that's kind of weird, because in War for Cybertron, didn't they kind of give each like a hue, like they kind of had like a glowing outline kind of thing? Like yours was red, or their heads up display, like their colors, so their names were different colors or something?
The display was different, and like you could set out a pulse or whatever, and you can see where all the enemies were. The glow that was around them, they actually didn't really have a glow. They just had a little thing over the top of their head that said that they were the bad guy. It was red. But in this, I can't remember if they had the same option or not. I just remember when I was playing, the only way I could figure out that it was the bad guy or not, or my opponent, was to put my gun sight over them, and it turned red if it was somebody that I needed to shoot at. And it was all standard too, because like they had all of the accounts that everyone was playing on. It was just like TF, it was just generic. So we didn't name them anything that we wanted to name them. It was just a generic. So I mean, it wouldn't have
they were like developer names.
Yeah, developer names or whatever that they created specifically just for that night. And I think afterwards they said they were going to scrub them. I was like, oh, okay. Bummer. But no, it was the other thing that I wanted to say, like in Dark of the Moon, they did this new thing where if you had ammo or a shield or any extra powers that you wanted to pick up while you're playing the game, it kind of glowed a different color. it was really, really bright. And then, like, when you put it on, like, the person that had the shield on would have, like, a blue outline all the way around them. In this, they've eliminated that. But if you find ammo or you find a shield or you find something, it's going to have like a glow around it so that you know what it is. That this is something I can pick up, and it's pretty easy to find. Rather than in War for Cybertron, I think sometimes it was hard to go find the ammunition and find different things. I think for the shield, it kind of glowed a little bit, so you went and found it. But everything glows. Like the ammunition is going to have like a yellow glow to it, and the shield stuff is going to have a little bit of, it still has the blue glow to it. So I liked that, and the fact that you could find things pretty easy. Now in the multiplayer, when you go down, when you're playing the multiplayer, there are some abilities that are randomly put out, and it's on a first come first serve basis. So if you find the shield, you get it, it's yours. Anybody can get it. It's not like an ability that you're going to get that's already automatic with the character. And that's because the character already has one power of its own, and you can find some of these randomly. Another thing that I remember seeing that I thought was different than War for Cybertron, when a character dies in War for Cybertron, sometimes they leave behind their weapons. They do not do this in Fall of Cybertron. And I asked about it, and they said that was intentional, and they found that it unbalanced the game, because then you could have, like, a scout would get, like, this really super big weapon, and, and so that's not available. All of the weapons that fall in War for Cybertron do not in Fall of Cybertron.
Okay.
We'll keep things balanced.
One major thing I always had an issue with in War for Cybertron, and what I did like in Dark of the Moon, was that your guns you did not have to run around to look for ammo.
Uh-huh.
Do you still have to go around looking for ammo in Fall of Cybertron?
In the campaign or in the multiplayer?
I guess both.
I guess both.
Yeah.
You do. You still have to go around and get it. But here's the thing, is that when you're in campaign and you shoot somebody, when they drop everything, like, they die. And, you make the characters expire. They drop ammo right there. It's like whatever's on that character was dropped, and I picked it up when I was playing the Megatron chapter. This was very true. I went up and I got the weapons stuff that they had. Oh, and that reminds me of another thing that I didn't talk about. Because like in War for Cybertron, when a character expired, they'd drop all these shards, and you'd pick those up, and they would help charge your abilities. In this, since you don't have those abilities, you pick up those shards, and those shards help you unlock stuff in Teletran 1, which is the store that you go and you can buy weapons in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I saw I was reading the achievements list for this, and it does seem like there's a lot more customization and weapons loadout and things like that this time around.
There is. In fact, some of the weapons that you have actually have upgrades. So if you buy a weapon, you can go back and buy upgrades for that weapon. And all of that will be available in the campaign. In multiplayer, it's a little bit different. I can't recall how it all works because I didn't really go to the Teletran in multiplayer, but they're going to be on two separate things. So if you unlock everything on the campaign, you still have stuff to unlock in multiplayer. But the way that you get it unlocked is a little bit different than what you do in campaign. So, but in campaign, what's really fun about it is that, like I said, as you kill and you go through the game and you expire characters and whatnot, you gather points, which then you can turn around and go to Teletran 1 in-game and buy weapons and upgrade abilities as well. They've got like a whole lot of, it's not just all weapons. You can get like a shield, and you get different things that are in the game as well. So that made it, I thought, oh, well, that makes it really fun. As you're playing the game, you can buy more stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't know if this means that you can like buy stuff like I want to put credit on my Xbox Live account and I can use that. I don't know if that's in there as well. But hey, if you just go around and play the game and unlock stuff, that's probably better.
Yeah, I think it's similar to, a lot of the Call of Duty games are similar. Like you earn more XP and things like that, and then you unlock different add-ons for your guns and things like that for multiplayer. it makes sense for campaign that you can buy them based on the shards and things because that doesn't balance the game. But if everybody was able to just pour like $60, $70 and buy all these add-ons for multiplayer, it would dramatically destroy like any game, like just the general enjoyability of the game. So.
Yeah. So yeah, as you play the game, you can unlock more stuff. So it's fun.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a lot of information.
Yeah,
that's
thanks.
awesome.
It was fun, and I'm sure that I'm missing a lot of stuff. So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to either shoot me an email or ask the Radio Free Cybertron crowd, or even tweet. And I will be more than willing to talk about this game because it's really a blast to play. And I only played just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's a whole lot of other stuff in here that I didn't get to play. I know we've seen gameplay for Bruticus. I didn't get to see any of that, but, I'm sure that it would be pretty fun to go play him. So, but yeah, I had a blast. It was great. Kudos to High Moon because they were awesome. They were great. They were very accommodating, answered tons of questions and such. And they said if I have any more, I can feel free to email them. So I was like, oh, cool.
Awesome.
I also got a really nice shirt, which I'm wearing right now. It's got Grimlock on it.
Oh, very nice.
If you pre-ordered the game, if anybody out there is at San Diego Comic-Con, if you go to their booth and pre-order the game at the booth, you'll get a free T-shirt. It'll either be Grimlock or Optimus Prime because I've seen both those shirts.
Cool. Yeah. I bet that's one size fits all. And
yeah.
by all that means not me.